Hey, what's up everybody? This is Chris. Thank you for watching my video, and I hope you guys are enjoying your day. Alright guys, just the puzzle pieces are getting bigger and bigger at this point, but I want to make a point about something that people may not think about. Now, I know by the title most people are going to do their usual automatic thumb down without even hearing what I have to say because of the personal vendetta some people have, which is fine. They're entitled to do that if it gives them empowerment. But hear me out on this. Now, this is coming from a person, I guess I would be considered either lower middle class or poor at this point, because basically our governments are stealing everything left and right. Um, so I don't know what category I would be in, but I'm definitely not one of the top 2%. So this whole fiscal cliff problem, quote, I almost forgot that, they have this supposed solution that says, well, we're only going to tax the top 2% of the wealthiest people. And most people think, oh, well, I don't fit under that, so it's not going to affect me. Well, let me tell you something, and you really need to put this in proper perspective, because I'm going to show you how this is going to backfire, and it's actually going to really hurt and affect us. And it's going to affect us directly. Because if you know anything about these elite people, these very wealthy people, they're very good at being cheap. They're very good at finding every loophole they can to avoid paying things. Now, we're going to assume that these people, a good majority of them, are business owners. They own parts of corporations. They're heads of corporations. They deal with the public in that aspect. Now, if they get their taxes raised and they own a specific company, like maybe they own GE or they own McDonald's or some place like that, or Walmart, and the people, the CEO and the people that make all that big amount of money end up having their taxes raised, do you think they're going to say, oh, well, let me go in my pocket, let me take that extra money, and let me pay off those taxes that I now owe? Even if they do that, what do you think they're going to do? Just say, oh, well, there's nothing I can do about it? No, they're going to raise prices of things that they sell. So we, the people, will be exposed to higher prices. So we may not be directly affected in the taxes, but we are all going to be affected because the trickle-down theory that they always talk about doesn't work the way they say it does, where they say, oh, well, if you help the rich, they're going to trickle down all the wealth to the poor. No, what's happening is they're doing the opposite. They're stealing all the money from these people, and they're going to have those same people take the money from us by raising their goods and services that they provide. So I am all for equality, and, most people will see, oh, well, I don't make that amount of money, so I don't have to worry, I'm not getting affected. You will be affected, and it's going to be affected even on a larger scale. So you have to realize what these people do. This is nothing more than a scam and a lie. And the problem I have with the majority of the people of the world, now I'm not talking about the people who watch all these different types of people doing videos like this, because you guys are getting it. But the average person out there that just wants to sit there going, la, 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 I don't want to hear it, I don't see it, I don't want to talk about it, they think it doesn't affect them. Well, let's put it this way. Watch with this whole Sandy Hook shooting and the shooting at Aurora, Colorado, and other mass shootings. Are they just happen to be coincidence where people just had some crazy person go along and kill people? Of course it could be. But you know what? You should look at evidence and at least question it. So even if you expose something, it's always better to say, well, I looked into it and found out it was actually true, than to just take the word of something and say, oh, well, I'm not going to question it. And so many people say things like, well, you're disrespecting the people who died. Well, I think if you just let people die and you don't at least question something that needs to be questioned, I think then you're disrespecting them. But the average person sits there with the attitude of, well, I don't want to get involved because then it won't affect me. Well, let me give you a prime example of how ridiculous that is when people think, oh, I shouldn't do anything or I can't do anything. Let's just assume that someone in your family that you love and trust, for whatever reason, hypothetically speaking, they're trying to kill you. And they're putting each day in your food and water little drops of poison that you don't know that they're doing. And then some neighbor or some other family member or something sees it happen, and they tell you about it. and they say, listen, I know you're in love with your wife, or I know that's your mother, or that's your best friend in the whole world, but I want to let you know I saw them putting poison in your food, and they're trying to kill you. I overheard them. Now, the person could say, oh, that's ridiculous. My wife would never do that, or my mother would never do that, or my best friend has always been there for me. I'm going to automatically dismiss it. I don't believe it's true. Now, you'll notice that person could actually potentially get mad at the person trying to warn them. Now, that person has nothing to gain from this. They're trying to help the person. But you'll notice that this is how most people are in the world. When they hear information that doesn't resonate with them and doesn't sound right, because it might be too weird or too strange to be true, instead of saying, you know what, thank you for bringing that up, let me investigate, they will kill the messenger. That's why you've ever heard the expression, you know, don't kill the messenger. But that's what the most people do. And they think, well, if I don't know about something, then it won't affect me. So let's continue with the hypothetical situation. Let's say that person automatically dismisses it, doesn't want to believe it, doesn't even want to look into it, says it's not possible because my mother loves me, or my wife loves me, or my best friend has saved me in Vietnam or something. There's no way they would do it. Now, let's just assume that that warning that that person was giving them was true, and that individual that they saw was putting poison in that person's food and water. Does that mean, because the person refused to check it, and he refused to believe it, does that mean he's not going to die from that poison just because he refuses to know it's there? That's my point about what's going on in the world. When people sit there and say, I'm not going to do anything, or I'm not going to check into anything, or I'm not going to believe something that sounds so outrageous, they have this mindset of thinking, oh, well, it won't affect me. Well, look at what's going on with these the gun laws they're trying to pass. And they use unfortunate tragedies. Now, whether these were planned or whether these were just something where they used them to take advantage of a situation, unless you're part of the corruption or part of the situation, you'll never really know. But my point is this. They're trying to ban guns really bad. It's gotten filibustered in a bunch of states. They're overturning any potential laws trying to ban guns. So what does this potentially mean? Well, if the previous shootings were done in a suspicious way, to where there was more involvement than what you're led to believe, then that means, because they didn't get the job done, you'll most likely see another mass shooting, or something exploding, or some terrorist attack. And more people, more innocent people, will have to die. Same thing, like, just because somebody tells you something, like somebody putting poison in your water, that's somebody close to you, if you refuse to believe it, does not mean you're not going to be affected by it. So, let this be a warning lesson to people. We have to be able to at least question. Now, I'm not saying everything that is a conspiracy is just that. But remember the definition of conspiracy. It's when a group of people conspire to do something. Most people don't even know what the definition of conspiracy is, and they hear that word and they automatically, because the news media feeds you with lies, just like assault rifles are nothing but lies, the media feeds you these specific words so they get triggered. So as soon as you hear the word conspiracy, you're automatically like, oh God, one of those crazy people. And what happens is, because the people that do try and speak the truth get ignored and get hated, we do get frustrated. We do get emotional because we want to sit there, you know, like from Back to the Future, shake somebody and go, hello, McFly, like, how are you not getting it? I mean, we see one lie after another in the media. We see so many things being exposed, and yet the majority of people just don't want to see it because they think, well, if I don't say anything or I don't do anything, I'll be safe. Well, look at the whole thing when I started this video about with the taxes where they tax the rich. Most people think that's a great thing. Screw the rich. Let them be taxed. Well, if you think they're not going to trickle that down and they're not going to raise the cost of things, I mean, give you a prime example. Look at sports. Let's look at baseball. Every time when they have another year where they have free agents and they have to spend more and more money on these baseball stars, paying them $25 to $30 million a year. What do? All of a sudden, you see the stadium prices go up, tickets go up, parking goes up, the food goes up, beer goes up. They pass it down to us. So, if you don't think you're paying for Alex Rodriguez's salary, you're crazy, because you are every time you go to a game. So every time you go to a football game or a hockey game or something, you're paying for part of their salary. So it's the same thing when it comes with the taxes. So when you think, oh, well, you know, we dodged a bullet because the president's going after only the 2%, so I don't have to be affected, you're sadly mistaken. And that's the thing that most people don't get. We are going to be affected. So be prepared in the following months to watch prices go up. You'll probably see gas prices go up. You'll probably see food go up. You'll probably see necessities that you need go up. Because that top 2% of the people that got this major tax increase are not going to sit there and say, oh, well, you know, I got to pay my fair share, so I'll just absorb that cost. No, they're going to raise prices of everything that you need. So yes, we didn't get directly taxed. But in the end, like all the bailouts that we've had before where they were trying to protect these too big to fail companies, we're going to end up fitting the bill. So remember, guys, there's a reason why the middle class is becoming more and more poor. It's because they don't directly steal from us, they just indirectly steal from us. But in the long run, and in the end, it's still stealing. So if you like giving up your money, and you like having to pay more for things each day, and you like your dollar becoming less and less valuable because they keep printing more of it, then do nothing and say nothing. And be that person that's about to take that sip of that water that they were warned was poisonous. Just because they refuse to believe it does not mean there are not consequences for what follows for their actions. So, hopefully that will awaken a couple of people. Like I said, I'm going to get people that will automatically hate this. I always get thumbs down. That's a personal vendetta against me. I think that's childish. Focus your anger on the real people. The ones in the government. The ones in the banks. The people in the media. The ones that are lying to you and stealing from you. I do nothing but make videos. I don't take anything from you. So why spend your hatred on somebody that's trying to awaken people? Unless you're one of the people that's part of the problem. Because if you don't at least question things in life, you give up your right to complain about how life is unfair and how life is cruel. Because if you want to sit there with blinders on and not hearing things and not talking, well, then if you're not going to talk about the truth, you should not talk about anything that you want to complain about. And like I said, the subscribers, the people who watch these type of videos and alternative media, they're the ones that are waking up. Don't stay asleep. Don't be one of the sheeple. Share this with a friend. Make your own videos. Speak out. Because united we stand, divided we fall. And that is why divide and conquer has worked for centuries. Divide the people in any way and every way possible, they will never unite. We going to keep playing their game and wondering why things are not getting any better? Or do we finally decide to say it's time for us to unify? I hope you guys will pick the latter. Alright guys, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Enjoy your day and keep an eye on what's out there. Because it's not really that great. That's our fault. Let's fix that. Peace.